Well, hey there, Nina Matei here, and I can't believe that we're all the way to week 11. Only a couple more weeks to go, yay! So I picked the Beltway sniper shootings from 2002, and this is how Time Magazine's reporter Nick Caraboni summarized the Beltway sniper attacks. During the fall of 2002, the Washington, D.C. metro area was gripped by panic. The hunt was on for the Beltway sniper, who seemed to be gunning down people at random, at gas stations, at supermarkets, simply on sidewalks. Seemed to have no discernible pattern. The FBI's website in 2007 further states, during the month of October, 10 people were randomly gunned down and 3 critically injured while about their daily lives, mowing the lawn, pumping gas, shopping, even reading a book. I selected the case study because I've always remembered how random the killings had seemed and how they disrupted hundreds of thousands of people's lives during those weeks. No outdoor place seemed like it was safe during that time. My main critique of the case study is that it's short. There's only 2 stages, and it could have been more thoroughly addressed with the coordination across state lines and between agencies. 4 of the people who were killed and 2 of them who survived were in Virginia. So further discussion of the coordination between the state and the federal agencies and the local municipalities, I think, could have added to the complexity of the case study. So, as the governor of an East Coast state, I'm briefed about a shooting on September 5th and September 21st involving 3 people. The case study treats these as very noteworthy, and in the research I did, I found out that Mohammed and Malvo, the 2 shooters, were actually implicated in 10 different incidents between February 2002 and September of 2002. And in those incidents, Mohammed and Malvo killed 5 people, they injured 5 more, they vandalized a synagogue in Washington State, and these other attacks happened in Arizona, Georgia, Maryland, Alabama, and Louisiana. So these 10 previous incidents aren't technically part of the Beltway case, but it's how Valsic and Tracy start the case study out. So they start out by describing how these events on the 5th and the 21st of September, how they motivate the governor, me, to coordinate law enforcement agencies and their investigations to support them to try to find the shooters. The governor calls for resources, which include crime scene analysis and additional staffing. Agency coordination's already included because the FBI is working on profiling, and state and county and local coordination of law enforcement is trying to track down the killers. So the governor's communication plan, I think, is a bit vague, and it really would include more descriptions of the suspects, precautions for citizens to take to remain safe, a hotline to report tips and to have questions answered. It seems strange to me also that a governor would be calling for resources instead of the actual law enforcement agency that's in charge of the investigation. I'd prefer a more unified effort with the governor supporting law enforcement and not overshadowing their efforts. In a more recent case, the prison break in New York State earlier this summer, the New York governor seemed to be leading the search and investigation more so than law enforcement, and it made that effort, to my way of thinking, seem disjointed and fragmented with competing interests. So, back over to the sniper shootings back in 2002. Between October 2nd and October 22nd, 10 people are murdered and 3 more are injured in Maryland and Virginia. Mostly it's along the transportation corridor known as the Beltway. And as Nick Caraboni from Time Magazine describes, the victims were carrying on the banal tasks of everyday life, their most unremarkable moments juxtaposed with the killer's lightning brutality. Officials speculated that this could be a terrorist attack, but they searched in vain for any overt political messages. The victims, if they were actually lined up side by side, they would really kind of roughly resemble a sampling of the Washington metropolitan area. They were white, black, Hispanic, Indian, male, female. One was a government analyst, one was a landscaper, a housekeeper, a nanny. I found out one was even a bus driver. So the governor's briefed on the situation in which a long-range rifle is used in sniper-style attacks. The action plan has to account for the mobility and the concealment of the shooters, which makes them elusive, the powerful long-range weapon that was used, and then the seemingly randomlessness of the victims. These factors all make it hard for law enforcement to develop linkages between the incidents. But the FBI is more involved now since the shootings have occurred across 2 states. In the communication plan, law enforcement continues to update the public. They share some of the clues and the items that are sent in by the actual shooters. These included tarot cards and letters and a voice recording. And then law enforcement asks for tips and information. The governor is also calling for resources, which include security camera tapes, helicopters, observation planes, checkpoints along roads in an attempt to catch the killers who are moving all over the area. So, October moves on, and Chief Charles Moose, who led the Montgomery County, Maryland Police Department, he's in charge of this massive investigation. He's got the help of the FBI, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and then many other state and local and federal agencies. Law enforcement has pieced together the Beltway case by linking tips, information from acquaintances, ballistics, and fingerprint evidence from other crimes, along with vehicle and weapons registrations and witness accounts. The case study by Valsic and Tracy alludes to law enforcement's ability to discern patterns and habits of the suspects, and the FBI's website in 2007 further describes how 400 agents helped to piece together evidence from a hotline, a joint operations center, and a profile developed by digital and behavioral analysts. A phone tip about a shooting in Montgomery, Alabama put law enforcement on the trail of Muhammad and Malvo. The FBI analyzed fingerprints from a rifle clip that was found at that scene. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms matched the ballistics evidence. Evidence from a Washington state crime scene matched fingerprints to Malvo. A phone tip from with Muhammad's name included in the tip further links the pieces of evidence. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms tracks a high-powered rifle to Muhammad. And so these possibilities and these identities lead the FBI to a blue Chevrolet that's registered to Muhammad. So the information about the blue Chevrolet is shared with the media, and an alert trucker spots the car at a rest stop. Early in the morning on October 24th, a team of Maryland State Police, Montgomery County SWAT officers, FBI agents arrest the sleeping Muhammad and Malvo without a struggle. So here we are with key issues, items of note, and lessons learned. And the skills and the weapons, the mobility of the suspect, it made this case hard and more complicated to solve because there's no way to determine or detect where weapons are being brought into an area. Shootings can occur rapidly, and then suspects can escape when shots are taken from a long distance. Law enforcement pieces together the shooters' identities by using patterns, evidence from other crimes, and tips from citizens. For municipal administrators and elected officials who feel pressured to quickly restore public safety, it's a challenge to understand that it takes time to build a case with evidence and procedures. And it also takes added funding for more staff to work additional hours, set up roadblocks, staff hotlines, provide fuel and vehicles, added electronics and crime scene processing. And I think that I really appreciated this part of the case study as a way for elected and appointed officials to support law enforcement's efforts. Freeing up staff, providing funds, and cutting through procedures to purchase and provide supplies and equipment are all important behind-the-scenes actions that help agencies to continue whatever disaster work they're involved in. I think that not enough business managers and finance and accounting staff take advantage of FEMA's 4-day 973 finance and accounting course. I think it's really critical that the finance and accounting folks within agencies make the best use of their funds and then obtain the maximum reimbursements after a disaster. So I think that's a gap that a lot of agencies could do a better job with. And those were my key takeaways from this particular case study and my items of note. A few of the resources and references that I used. I enjoyed learning a little bit more about this event and getting myself reacquainted with the event as it unfolded over really actually 3 weeks in October of 2002. It seems like a long time ago, but I guess it could really happen again anytime. So I hope you enjoyed the case study, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.